item on the agenda is a request for recognition from Karen Spranger. If you'd go to the microphone, give your name and address for the record, you have 5 minutes.
I'm new, so I don't know where the microphone is.
At the podium.
Okay. I'm not ready to start, so just bear with me. My name is Karen Spranger. I live in the city of Warren. I came all this way, 7520 Hudson, Warren Avenue, Warren, Michigan, 48091. I'm your neighbor, and I'm proud to be a neighbor. I'm also going to declare being a citizen, a resident of the state of Michigan, and a homeowner. As you know, smart meters are coming to our state of Michigan. And they're trouble, and they kill. What I mean by kill is the human body, the body parts that make me a human being. And if you read the information that you got at your last public meeting, the information from the state of California has made it very clear on the dangers of the smart meters. I live in the city and we have none already. I'm working very hard to get an ordinance passed with the support of the Shelby Township people who really educated me first about the smart meters. Clinton Township is working on it. We are really concerned. This is a health hazard, a safety issue, a public welfare issue, a privacy issue. It takes away the United States of America's constitutional rights for a citizen, for a resident, and a homeowner. If you do not educate yourself today, please do this. This is a map to show you the deployment that is already existing today. They've had this plan for many years. Nobody knew about it until we started to get educated. CTE comes on your property, doesn't give you a notice, change the old meter to new meter. We don't even know if there's a safety fact sheet. I called the consumer's hotline and complained about this. They told me there should be an information sheet about the product. It's a total new device called a telecommunication. It works on a microwave frequency. It will be running 24/7. There's no safety switch to turn it off because if I am sensitive to the radio frequency, how can I turn off a device I have no control over? Medically speaking, there's people with heart pacemakers. They have machines in the homes to keep them to survive. And this new device will interfere with that. It's invisible, it's odorless, it travels 2 miles wide. I don't live 2 miles away from my neighbor. I'm going to be bombarded with their electromagnetic energy. And I am so concerned about this and so upset as a resident. I am hoping that the people band together from neighborhoods of each community, research it, study it. You today make a swear statement that you will help your citizens. Look on the zoning ordinance. Do we have a public health and safety ordinance that protects us from a big business of DTE Energy? I don't mind them changing a new device to a better one, but if it's not safe, who wants an unsafe product into your home? I'm giving no consent. That is unrealistic if it's going to harm my body. California's been dealing with this problem longer than us. Colorado has issues. Maine had issues. They're all opting out. How did they get out of our program? Well, let's do it in Michigan. It starts with the local, goes to the Michigan Public Service Commission, which I'm working on, and Shelby Township, they're working on the same problems. City of Warren. Because we have none, we can write an ordinance. That makes law, law. It protects us. I have no protection if you give me a moratorium. You do resolution. That's a Band-Aid. It's not going to fix my medical health problems because I have to live with that device 24/7, 3 times the emission of the electromagnetic field. And I already live with it now. Cell towers in the neighborhood, 98 of them in the city of Warren. Too many. How can we control that? Now we're going to double pollute it in my home that I own as a homeowner? Do you think I'm a little this way? I'm going this way if I'm going to have that in my home. So let's really get together as neighbors. You write my city of Warren, I write you guys. And let's see who answers the first. Let's see who's going to take the leadership. I know everyone here is going to be concerned like I am. Your children will be exposed to this. Nausea, headaches, insomnia, heart palpitations.
Your 5 minutes are up.
And DNA disruption. In conclusion, write our letters, voice your opinion. Please, I beg you. This is appalling.
Just for your...
For records, I have documents to protect.
Your 5 minutes are up.
Okay.
But I just do want to say that the first time this came before us, Mr. Meltzer brought it before us, I referred it to our legislative committee to study, to bring back a recommendation to the whole council to move forward on it. So it's not anything that we aren't working at this point in time. But thank you for your time. Your 5 minutes are up.
How do you present
Your 5 minutes are
records?
up. Thank you.
How do you present records, Mr. Chairman? That's a simple question.
Oh, give them to the city clerk.
Okay.
Mr. Lyons?
Today, I received a call from a constituent in reference to a smart meter. They installed the meter today without her permission. Are they allowed to do that?
Yes, it's their equipment.
So it's her house, it's her private house.
It's their equipment.
Can they come into a house without permission to install the smart meter?
They can't go inside the
They
house.
went inside the house.
Well, not without permission. If they went in their backyard and it was on the back of their house, they could do that.
I said they went into the house. I advised her to send a letter to them, asking them, a certified letter, to withdraw the smart meter at a certain date. If not, she will start a lawsuit against them.
How did they get in her house?
I don't know.
Did they break in?
I don't know. She didn't say anything. But
Now,
they
you're
went
sure
in the
they
house.
went inside the house?
In the house.
Pardon? They usually are on the outside, but,
Downstairs, in the basement. It's the basement. There is so, certain houses there is.
Only buildings with commercial
Tell you
buildings.
what I would do.
Well, I know what the law is, we have to have access, that's why it's outside.
yeah, if you don't pay your bill and they
All right,
pull your
all
meter.
right. We go from one answer to another, okay? I'm just telling you what I was doing.
Do you have the address of the person?
Yes, but I won't give it to you publicly yet. I will give it to you later.
Okay. Yeah. There is a telephone number that, they put on your doorknob if they're at your house and you're not there. It says, important notice, sorry we missed you. There's toll-free number 877-241-4922. So, yeah. Yeah, I called the regional manager of DTE today and talked to him. Pardon? His name is Casino. And he said there is no such thing as opt-out. There's a defer program that the DTE handles on a case-by-case basis. So, the best advice I can give is to call that number or the number that's on your electric bill, and that's, 447, something like that. It's on your electric bill to call that number and, ask to talk about people that, with someone that has, that's in charge of the upgrade of the meters. But the regional manager said there is no opt-out, but there is a defer program on a case-by-case basis. Next item on our agenda is a request for recognition from John Holton. If you will come to the microphone, give your name and address for the record. You have 5 minutes.
You can pass that on, I've got 10 copies, I believe, 2 of those each.
John Holton, 2392 Barclay Avenue, Shelby Township, Michigan, 48317. DTE came to Shelby Township. They had 45 minutes, PowerPoint presentation, four extra three-piece suits in the audience. And they lied, and they lied, and they lied. There is no mandate in Michigan for smart meters, yet they will not let you opt out. They answered the question. You could go to June 7th, 2011 on Shelby Township's internet and look up the meeting. If you have a heart condition, you cannot opt out. If you have asthma, you cannot opt out. If you're on oxygen, you cannot opt out. They do not care what your illness is. You cannot opt out. Okay? That is the simple truth. We have a DVD called DTE Smart Meter Sham. It's on there, and it shows the evidence to contradict their lies. Now you got to remember, we went to Shelby Township, and we got our little bit of 5 minutes each, twice a month, for 9 months. And we present documentation such as this, DVDs, other people would come and testify. And our township believed us over DTE. They passed a resolution to have MPSC and Mr. Snyder to look into the health consequences, the dangers of EMF and radio frequencies, okay? And you know what Mr. Snyder says? His office says, Mr. Sachs says, Chief Sachs says, they're completely safe. I just gave you 2,000 signatures, doctors, okay, in 2002 that said EMF and RF is dangerous. I gave you the Benatila resolution, the Catalina resolution, okay, the Fiberg resolution, okay? Those are testimonies from doctors around the world that say EMF and RF is dangerous. It can cause cancer, DNA damage, autism, okay? And now who is going to protect your children? If you had a choice between having a friend or neighbor or a constituent get cancer and saying no, wouldn't you say no? This is the problem. We have a corporation dictating to us that they could go ahead and do shielded cable. They could do fiber optic cable. They could do it numerous other ways other than radio frequencies to get the same information out. But they choose to do it at radio frequencies that could potentially give you a cancer, such as the World Health Organization said May 31st of this year, that cell phones could be a Class 2B carcinogenic. We've given you that information before. And this is the thing. The information's out there. But like Mr. Snyder and Michigan Public Service Commission choose to look at selected studies, selected information to push their agenda. They don't want to look at the truth that's out there from all the scientists and doctors and testimony. They're in it for the money. This is big business. This is not about you, the poor people of Southfield or Detroit or Pontiac that can't afford the higher electric bills, that can't afford a computer to even monitor the internet with the special peak time pricing, okay? They won't know when the rates are going up to shut off their wash machine, their hot water heater to turn it on off to save money, because they can't afford the electric bills they're already paying. And these are going to go up. So who is DTE to dictate to the people, okay, that they should endure a possible carcinogenic or have their kids come down with autism or something like that? And this is what Shelby Township and Oak Park did. The simple resolution just says, we stand with the people. We want you to investigate further. Yeah, like Mr. Snyder said, they quote the MPSC website. And you know what it says on the MPSC website? It suggests they're safe, as long as they're within the tolerances. Now, we've got people that go on out there, they go out and spend $500 a meter, and they go check their smart meter. It's not 5 microwatts per centimeter squared. It's 350, 1,000 microwatts per centimeter squared. It's above the tolerances, and it's not going once a day. It's going every 6 seconds, every 10 seconds. And you may have a collector on your home that's going to have 400 homes coming to beat you on up with the radiation. So just how much tolerance can your body take? If you want to put 5 cell phones and wrap them around your neck, that's your own personal business. If you think Wi-Fi is the best thing that ever happened, that's your own personal business. But why should a corporation force it on you with no opt-out? And that's what DTE says. You look at the internet at Shelby Township and on a DVE, they say no opt-out. They don't care.
Your Prime Minister, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir.
I feel obligated to answer the speaker if I have been involved in what he is saying. For many years now, I have not voted for the cell towers that blanket our city and blanket our airspace. They do emit radiation, and I gave examples, and I have evidence like that from Europe and the United States. But of course, all the big corporations say it's safe, it's safe, it's safe, it's safe. So, I don't think it's safe. That gentleman is 100% right. I gave an example one time. 12 in Evergreen, we have a firehouse, and we have that little strip shopping center. We have a little alley between you that if you spread your arms, you can touch both walls. Your bed, where you sleep, is against that wall. In the middle of that little alley is a cell tower, which emits radiation a minimum of 13 feet. And since I've been complaining, the companies have put signs on the base of the cell towers, stay 14 feet away, 13 feet away. But when I bring it up, want a resolution, nothing. Nothing is going to happen here either tonight, nothing. But I predict in 6, 7, 8 years, some of these firemen are going to come down with cancer. So I can keep going all night on it, but you have an idea of what I'm trying to get out to the people for many, many years now. Thank you.
Ms. Taylor?
I just want to say thank you, first of all, to Karen and John for coming out and sharing this information with us. I did receive the DVD that I think John left, and I have looked at it. This information does warrant to me looking at, and for you to take time out of your busy schedule to bring this information to us, it's obviously something that's important to all of you, and it should be important to all of us. I would also like to ask, I know we've referred this to our legislative committee, but could we look at some of the resolutions that other cities have in place and maybe see what, if anything, we might want to do? The problem I do have is just like John had just said, there's no opt-out available. It's your choice. You should be able to say yes or no, and that's a real problem for me. So I just wanted to say, I know that our legislative department will do thorough investigation, but I'd just like to add that if we could look at some of the other resolutions.
We did refer a resolution to the legislative committee.
Okay, thank you very much for that. And again, thank you for coming out.
Okay, the next item, Mr. Seibert?
I also am concerned about this, and I would recommend to the legislative committee that if council supports it, that we get our lobbyists, we use the resources of our lobbyists, as fighting the Public Service Commission is sort of daunting. And my concern with this also is that 24/7, as well as, besides the no opt-out, it becomes a cumulative thing. How many radio waves do we want to subject ourselves to? all in the name of convenience.
Ms. Seymour?
Yeah, I'm looking at these documents that the scientists have signed. All they're really asking for is to establish, to promote some research and get some real data, and I think that's a reasonable request, because, you know, there's not much data available on something like this, and the concerns that have been brought up, I think, are things that we should be thinking about. We don't know the effects of all of this. I mean, they're adding so much to our environment, and putting these, I mean, I think it needs to be looked at. I think the scientists would not be requesting this kind of independent research to document this. They wouldn't be asking for this. These are people of quite a bit of, credentials throughout the world, and I think they're raising some questions that I think we should all be concerned about. I have to say, I think it's rushing ahead a little bit with something that people are concerned about, and I think people shouldn't have to feel that concern. Either there's research to support it, or there's not, and there doesn't appear to be.
There is, Mr. President. One more question.
Are you done?
Yes, yes.
Mr. Lance?
There is evidence of radiation. There is. I've been talking about it for 25 years. I have so many evidence, so many papers, and this is the first time that I heard and Cyber say something, and Joan, holy mackerel, things are changing.
This is something different. This is
radiation, it's all the same.
It's far more intense and it's far more pervasive than what.
What have I been talking about? Radiation, which is more dangerous than this. Well, I'm glad. Over the late council. Oh, and Lenny, thank you.
Yes.
Now we got 3, we need 4 votes for resolution.
Well, as soon as the legislative committee comes back with a recommendation, there may be 7 votes.
Very good, I'm on the resolution, I'm on that.
We meet at
The next,
at 3:30.
Yeah, there will be a recommendation on the 19th.
the next item on our agenda is a request for recognition from Pauline Holton. If you would go to the microphone, please, and give your name and address for the record. You have 5 minutes.
I have some more DVDs for you.
Your name, please, and your address.
Excuse me?
Your name and
Excuse me.
address, please.
Pauline Holton, 2392, Shelby Township, Michigan. I'm here to talk about smart meters again. We have a lot of problems with these. DT came to Shelby Township. They didn't discuss the cost it's going to be, the tier pricing, what they're going to have. People with seniors that don't have computers, what are they going to do? If they can't check the time price, then they can have the cheapest rate, what are they going to do? If they don't have a computer, are they going to call? They might not have a chance to do that, and it'll be bye. I mean, it's going to cost us a lot of money. Let's talk about the health for a second here. I had the meter on for a short time. I have a rod down my back, and these meters do affect that. I felt it. It almost makes me want to cry, but I felt that it hurt. I have a EMF and a smart meter group that I had the first and third Sundays now that I talk to people. There are people that are living in their cars that can't be around these meters and things like that. This is a big problem with health. We really need to look into the health. I really appreciate you guys taking the time for us to be here tonight, because it is a health problem. There's so many issues because health, that's the most important thing to us. And people with heart problems like my husband, and people have defibrillators, when these things are going off, it could make that change. If you're outside mowing your lawn and you've got a defibrillator in there and you've come next to this meter and it's reading, it could change that. That person could have a heart attack. My dog could have a health problem, have a heart problem. It could change that. My next door neighbor, we talk about opt-out. We don't want to opt out. We want to get this out of here completely because we don't know. The research hasn't been done. We don't know the problems with this, and we have to work on that. But health is a very big issue. One thing we need to discuss is the Fourth Amendment right with these meters. 3925 Senate bill. Everything you buy is going to have a chip in it. And these meters will be able to read it. That's a Fourth Amendment right. We still have rights in our home, don't we? The Fourth Amendment still does count, doesn't it? We still have the right in our home, and these meters will read it. Last thing I want to talk about is safety. These meters are so advanced. Houses are catching on fire. This is a house in California. This was a whole subdivision that caught on fire. This needs to be looked into. The new technology is so potent, it's catching the houses on fire. The last issue I want to talk about is the mandate. There is no mandate in Michigan. TT, when it came to Shelbytown, said you had to have these meters. People with disabilities like me, no, we can't opt out. But we can. We can say no. We have our yard locked up. We have the meter tagged. They will not come in my yard. I will not have this. And I suggest to you tonight, please, think about your resident in Southfield. Look at all these lovely people here. I feel for them. I feel for the problems that the health, the safety, our privacy issue, and the cost for seniors that's going to rise with all these. DTE is right now lobbying the MTSC and all these places to get a 30% increase. I can't afford it. I'm a senior. We live on income. It's going to be difficult. We cannot afford this. This is a financial issue, too. So think about the cost, the health, the privacy issues, and the safety for your residents of Southfield. We need to do an ordinance. We need to stop this in Michigan. There's no mandate in Michigan. Please help us. Please help your people here. Thank you. I do have DVDs, too. Thank you.
Ms. Seymour?
Yeah, I'd like to ask you a question. You mentioned the issue of privacy. You said that, so many of our things have chips. You're talking about like driver's license and credit
No.
cards? What are you talking
No,
about?
no, no. Stove, refrigerator, washer, and dryer will have chips. These meters will be able to regulate, even shut it off.
Really?
Yes. Senate Bill 3925 talks about chips in everything. They're already here.
In our instruments, in the electronic, in our
Yes.
electric,
Your
refrigerators,
computer, my new toaster.
appliances,
Yes,
you're
my
saying.
new
Okay.
toaster has it.
Okay.
I didn't know it. I was doing dishes. I saw this light lighting up. I got a chip in that. I got a brand new television I just bought 2 months ago. It's got a chip in it. It's on all the time. They will read what you're doing in your house. This is our right. We should be secure in our homes. We need this. This is our last attempt for our rights. Thank you.
I just wanted clarification.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor?
I am satisfied that this has been referred to the legislative committee. However, I feel that it's important that we do get a response from DTE. I think it's important that we at least hear what the company's motivation is, what research they have done, so that when we do a resolution, or if the city, whichever direction they decide to go, that we have heard from DTE as well. So, and the other thing I would like to know is how many cities have been deployed. Those are type things I want to know. I heard South Lyon and I heard Southfield. So what other cities are being deployed, and what other actions are happening in these other cities? So I want us to have a complete information when we get a report out.
Okay, Ms. Garrison, the resolution that we referred to the legislative committee, do you know what city that came from? Was it Oak Park? Okay. Okay. And your meeting is the 19th, you said?
No, it's actually towards this week.
The 14th?
It's actually this week, second Wednesday. The 14th.
Oh, you're hoping to have something that good?
But
Okay.
considering what the mayor just said, that you, would like to, at least give DTE an opportunity to say to us, do they have any, data based on research
They've been here once. I don't know if, Joe talked about that or not.
That was for like something.
Cause, you know,
He didn't talk about
He
that.
talked about smart meters.
they
Yeah,
talked about,
That's what they were here for.
That was, they were here for the lights at Northland.
No.
Please,
They were here for the smart meter.
They were here for smart, yes.
right.
But
Yes.
these issues weren't on the table when we were.
Right.
We didn't
And I
know,
wanna ask.
we didn't know the questions to ask.
Right, exactly.
So
Right.
then
I
it
remember
may,
asking for an impact statement.
so then it may very well make
Whatever
sense
happened?
to, have DTE come to, you know, a meeting, the next meeting
Well, they were
that
here
we have.
already.
Well, maybe need to come back now that we've got
We're
more
more informed.
information. So that with the legislative committee, we should still look at it and look at what steps, you know, be prepared. Get started and, and then have DTE come and talk about this, and then be ready then to move, which will mean there have to be, at least 2 legislative meetings. We have one in September, and then you have, of course, you have another one in October.
Well, you're better off having them here before we have our legislative meeting on the 14th.
Well, we can meet on the 14th just to, look at, we can meet on the 14th, so we can have some discussion, preliminary discussion. We can look at the Oak Park resolution, and Jim will be there, bringing us some other information. And then also talk about getting DTE in at another COW meeting soon, but really maybe possibly make a final recommendation, not at this Wednesday's meeting, but possibly the next legislative meeting. We won't be ready. We need to hear from DTE.
Go ahead, do it.
Well, I'll see you Wednesday at 3:30. You and Joe.
You're having a meeting at 3:30, and we have a candidates night the same night, 2 hours later. All legislative meetings take 3-4 hours.
That's true. They
Uh-huh.
sure do.
So where am I gonna put my butt? Where am I gonna go? Legislative meeting or my candidates night? After all,
We need to, okay.
I'll let you work that out.
Well, that's a good suggestion. We'll work
But,
that out.
hopefully, we can expect a recommendation from the legislative committee. And I will ask our city administrator to invite DTE to come back and discuss the issues that have come before us on at least 2 different occasions about the health hazards, if there are health hazards, or the health concerns, let me put it this way, the health concerns of the smart meters.
So maybe what we'll do is, we schedule our legislative meeting, so at least we can have the, since it is the candidate tonight on Wednesday, we can't be rushed. That's not beneficial, to the cause. And then we'll schedule it after DTE comes to, county. How does that sound? Joe?
So you're suggesting that we not have the meeting this week?
Right.
Just make it after
Right.
DTE?
Right, we'll schedule, it won't be on necessarily the second Wednesday, but, on a day after. It could be on another day,
Right.
after we hear.
I'll advise, tomorrow we'll attempt to set this up,
Okay.
and I'll advise them sort of where we landed on getting someone
Okay.
here the 19th. I'm hoping we can get someone here the 19th.
Because we shouldn't have to wait until the second, Wednesday of October.
Right.
So we do need to hear from you. Okay. Joan, Sydney, got that? No meeting this Wednesday. Okay, Nancy? Thank you. Please, thank you.
I'm going to recognize Mr. Meltzer, but I want to let the audience know that this is not an agenda item. So this is out of the ordinary, but I'll make an exception. I'll recognize Mr. Meltzer if you want to make a comment. I'm not going to give you the full 5 minutes, but I'll.
No, I understand. I'll
Yeah.
speak just a moment. Richard Meltzer, 20850 Wink in Southfield, Michigan, 48076. I just wanted to make one point.
Mike, I can't hear you.
I wanted to make one point that is at the crux of a lot of confusion. And I sent out a recent email that, especially for those in the legislative committee, I strongly urge you view it. It's a 32-minute video that touches all the bases by an expert in California. You will be very informed after you watch this. But the bottom line to all this is there's a lot of confusion about what it means to be safe. And it's really important that you understand the jargon. Engineers do not talk about safe. DTE will say it is safe. What they are really saying, and I covered this in the last email, what they are really saying is that it's legal. Safety is determined by the government, the FCC. But the problem there is the guidelines actually predate the cell phone era. That's how antiquated they are. They were done in a vacuum. They were done with very narrow definitions. They're really quite obsolete. So it's easy for non-technical people to slip from we meet guidelines and therefore it is safe when the safety is actually determined by the FCC. And again, that's really a very, very old determination and quite out of date. Additionally, more contemporary independent research shows that the way a lot of the current meters test is really quite inadequate, and that in the home, real-life conditions, you get a lot of reflective surfaces, like in the kitchen, stainless steel appliances and so forth, and it has an amplification effect, and therefore the actual exposure is far greater than is being detailed by the likes of DTE. I'll leave it at that. The only thing I would add is at the meeting, I think that the committee is in a process of educating itself. I think you need experts there to counterpoint with DTE. If I can help you in that regard, terrific. If you can find somebody else and better qualified, have at it. But I think you really need somebody who has the detailed knowledge to kind of counter their do counterpoint with them. I thank you for the exception.
Thank you. The next item